Okay, so good morning, students. We'll proceed with the eigenvalue and eigenvector concept that we started the last class. So we have already done the eigenvalues, how to find the eigenvalues. So there we have to find the determinant of a minus lambda I equal to 0, and from there we'll get the eigenvalue. So if we have solved numericals based on that, so depending on the order of the matrix, we'll get the number of eigenvalues. So if it is a 3 cross 3 matrix, we'll get 3 values. If it is 2 cross 2, we'll get 2 values, right? So we solved both 2 and 3 order vectors, the matrices for eigenvalue. Then yesterday we looked at eigenvectors. So in eigenvectors, it is an extension. So we have to take a minus lambda I and multiply this with a vector x, right? So that x is a column vector, and then based on that, based on the order of the matrix that is given to us, we'll get the value of x. So x looks like this. You have x1, x2, xn. So I'm looking at this matrix here. So it is an n cross 1 matrix, right? And then it should satisfy a minus lambda equal to x. So we've solved a numerical and we saw how we can find the eigenvectors, right? So that is the concept of eigenvalue, eigenvectors. Now what we want to do is to take this concept and use it for other applications. So one of the applications which we have is to diagonalize the matrix, right? And I had given you this problem to find the eigenvalue and eigenvector. We'll discuss that in a second. Okay. Now let's first look at the theory part. Okay, and then I'll explain you what exactly we are trying to do. Okay, so we want to see the diagonalization of a matrix. Okay, so I'll quickly explain you the theoretical part and the process, and then we'll go ahead with the problem. So for diagonalization, okay, the concept is it is basically a process to reduce the matrix A, the matrix which is given to us. So we'll call it matrix A to a diagonal form. So the diagonal form would mean like this. So if we are given some matrix, the diagonal form looks like this. So let's say you have A 0 0 0 B 0 0 0 C, right? So it will only have diagonal elements. So that will be the diagonalization, right? So there is a concept on this for which we need to find the eigenvectors, for which we will have to find the eigen values first, right? So the given matrix A is related to the diagonal D, right? This is the nomenclature we'll use. So the given matrix A will be related to the diagonal D by what is known as similarity transformation, and that transformation is P inverse A P equal to D. This is a very important equation. This is what is going to be used, right? So P inverse AP, that is known as a transformation on the LHS, and D is the diagonal, right? So you can reduce A, that is the given matrix A, to the diagonal matrix D using what is known as the matrix P, which is known as a modal matrix. So our job in the numericals will be to find the modal matrix and then use this equation to diagonalize the given matrix, right? So the matrix P, which is going to diagonalize A, is known as the modal matrix of A. Is known as the modal matrix of A. Okay. So the modal matrix is going to be formed by grouping eigenvectors into a square matrix that we will see in the numericals. Okay, if I write now, it will be a little complicated. I'm just reading out the important steps. So the modal matrix P, that will be formed by grouping eigenvectors. So we need to find the eigenvectors first, and then eigenvectors of A, will put it in a square matrix. We'll see this in the numerical. The resulting diagonal matrix, okay, the resulting diagonal matrix D, which we obtain, right? This is known as the spectral matrix. This is known as the spectral matrix of A. Right? These are the names given to the matrix P, which is the modal matrix of A, and that to D, which is the spectral matrix of A or the diagonal. Right? So the spectral matrix we'll see in the numerical, it has the eigen values of A in its diagonal element. That means the diagonal element, the spectral matrix is going to look like this: A0, 0, 0, B, 0, 0, 0, C. Or rather, to make it more clear, it will have lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda 3, where these lambdas are the eigenvalues. Right? I've put zeros elsewhere, but there could be any other values, but lambdas will be on its diagonal. Right? So this transformation of matrix A to this P inverse AP, right? So transformation of A into this P inverse AP is known as similarity transformation. Okay, this I have already told you before. This is known as the similarity transformation. Okay. So this is the theory behind it. Just to let you know what are the different names that we are using. So we are going to use the name of modal matrix of A, which will be P. We'll use the word spectral matrix of A or the diagonal of A, which is D. And this entire process will be known as the similarity transformation. Right? So this is just the theory part. So now we want to see, this is the numerical which I had given to you. Okay, so I will rewrite that numerical, and let's see what answers we got for it, and we'll see how to diagonalize. That is very important. Okay, so I'm just going to rewrite this equation, the matrix. Okay. Okay, so the matrix that we had, or which I gave to you yesterday, was 6, negative 2, 2, negative 2, 3, negative 1, 2, minus 1, 3. Right? So this was the matrix which was given. So the first step to diagonalize, the question is diagonalize the matrix. Right? So we need to find D and P. Right? That is the modal matrix and the spectral matrix. Right? So the very first step will be to find A minus lambda I determinant, and that should be equated to 0. Right? So if we try to find that, it will be 6 minus lambda, negative 2, 2, negative 2, 3, negative 1, 2, negative 2, 3 minus lambda, minus 1, 2, minus 1, 3 minus lambda. And this will be equated to 0. Okay. So I'm hoping you have solved this. So I'm not doing the entire step, but I have solved it with me. I'm just giving you the final result which we have. So the equation will be a cubic equation. So this is the equation I have: lambda cube minus 12 lambda square plus 36 lambda plus 32 equal to 0. And the lambdas which we get is 2 comma 2 comma 8. Did you get that answer for lambda? Anybody? Have you solved this? Anyone?
So we are getting that minus 48, sir. We are 32 not getting, sir.
Where?
Equation, sir.
Huh.
Lambda cube minus 12 lambda square plus 36 lambda minus 48 we are getting, sir.
Minus 40.
48, sir.
48. No, there is a negative 8 elsewhere, and you have two negative 8s that you will get in the equation. That's how it becomes 48 minus 16. There are two negative 8s that you can see in the equation itself. See the equation here that you have. Uh,
Sir,
see here.
264, sir.
No, I have solved this, and then this thing from the computer also. You have 6 minus lambda lambda square minus 6 lambda plus 8 plus 4 lambda minus 8 plus 4 lambda minus 8, and that is equal to 0. So you have minus 8 here and minus 8 here, and you'll get a 48 here. So it has to be plus 32. I verified this with the computer. Let me, I will recheck again. You can also recheck. Okay, let's go with this value here. Okay. Uh, because what is important is diagonalization. Okay, this will come back and check. So now this is the first part where you have found the eigenvalue or eigenvalues, and you get 3 eigenvalues, right? In the next step, we need to find the eigenvectors. So you'll get eigenvectors, that is 3 vectors, because there are 3 values, right? So going by these lambdas only, you'll have lambda 1 as 8, let's say, lambda 2 as 2, and then lambda 3 as 2. They are repeated roots, right? So you'll get once you get for one lambda equal to 2, the other one is also the same. Okay, so I have got those vectors. Okay, so I don't know if it will match because the eigenvalues don't match. Okay, but again I solved and verified this with the computer also. Okay, so I'll recheck from your side also. You please recheck. Okay, so this is what I get for lambda equal to 8. Okay, for lambda equal to 8, the eigenvector I get is x1, for example, is some k1, 2, negative 1, 1. And for lambda equal to 2, I get x2, which is some, one second, no? k2, 0, 1, 1. And then for another lambda 3 equal to 2, I get k3, which is negative 1, 0, 2. Okay, so since eigenvalues are not matching, the vectors will not match. Okay, but like I said again, I verified this with the computer. So we'll go with these values. Okay, we want to understand diagonalization. We'll come back and check these answers. Okay, so now let's say having done the eigenvalues, okay, and hence the eigenvectors. So we have these 3 matrices with us. In the third step, to diagonalize, in the third step, right, we write the modal matrix. We write the modal matrix P, right? And how do we write the modal matrix? The modal matrix P will just have the contents of the eigenvectors, right? It is just going to have the contents of the eigenvectors. So if you see x1 is 2, negative 1 and 1. This I'm looking at this matrix here, right? So I'm just going to write this vector as here 2, negative 1, 1, right? The second vector that we have for lambda 2 equal to 2, that is x2, is 0, 1, 1, this vector here. So therefore I'm going to write the second column 0, 1, 1, and the third vector we have is negative 1, 0, 2. So I'm going to write this here, negative 1, 0 and 2, right? So this column here is for lambda equal to 8. This column here is for lambda equal to 2, and this column here is again for another lambda equal to 2, right? So this is the manner in which we write the modal matrix. So to write the modal matrix, we need the eigenvectors, and to calculate the eigenvectors, we need the eigenvalues. Okay, so that is why we had first done eigenvalues and eigenvectors. Now we are doing diagonalization. Okay, now our aim is to do this. Okay, our aim is to do the transformation, that is P inverse AP equal to D. This is what we want to do, right? Here we know A, it is given to us. We have just found P, right? Now the only thing which we do not know on the left hand side is P inverse, right? So our next step to satisfy that equation will be to find P inverse. Okay, another thing which we know is that the diagonal D consists of the eigenvalues, right? That means we already know that D will be of the form lambda 1 0 0 0 lambda 2 0 0 0 lambda 3, right? And we know the values of lambda 1 lambda 2 lambda 3. So lambda 1 is 8 8 0 0 0, lambda 2 is 2, and lambda 3 is also 2. So we know the value of D, right? So all we have to do now is to prove that P is the modal matrix of A. All we have to do is to see if P inverse into A into P turns out to be this diagonal D, right? If this multiplication of P inverse AP equals to this matrix D, then I can safely say that P is modal matrix of A, right? So ultimately our aim is to find P and justify that P is the modal matrix of A, right? So we know all the values, just that we need to equate LHS with the RHS. Okay, so the moment we find the eigenvalues in the first step, we already know the diagonal. That means we already know the RHS, right? Then we are already given vector the matrix A. Once you find the eigenvector, you know the value of P by noting down those eigenvectors in column form. So only the last step is to find P inverse and then multiply P inverse with AP to see that you are actually getting the diagonal value D or not. Okay, so now our next step is to find P inverse. Okay, and to find P inverse, the equation which we have is adjoint of the matrix, that is adjoint of P divided by determinant of P, right? So here we need to find the adjoint of P and then we need to find the determinant of P and divide, right? So we can easily find the determinant of P. So let me find that first. So we'll have 2 into 2 minus 0 minus 0. So I'm not going to write any value. And then third value negative 1 into negative 1 minus negative 1, right? So this will be 4 plus 2. Therefore determinant of P is 6, right? So we have already found the determinant of 6, right? Only thing we need to now find is the adjoint of P, right? So let me scroll up and let you know how we can find the adjoint of P. So this is what is given in the book and various other sources, right? So I have written the source also where I found this. So the adjoint of matrix A, right? If I want to find the adjoint of matrix A, it is nothing but transpose of cofactor matrix, right? So what you have to do is matrix A is given. For this, find the cofactor matrix. Find the cofactor matrix, and then after finding the cofactor matrix, just transpose it, right? So how do you find the cofactor matrix? We have found the cofactors before, right? So you take each element and find the cofactor one by one, right? After finding that matrix, then go ahead, transpose it, and you will get the adjoint. This matrix is also sometimes known as the adjugate matrix, but we are just going to use the term adjoint, right? Okay. So now this is a little manual work to find the adjoint. Okay. So P is already given to us. So we already have the determinant. I'm not worried. So I'll rewrite P. So P which is given to us is 2 0 negative 1 minus 1 1 0 1 1 2. Now for this given matrix, for each cofactor I need to find the cofactor matrix. I need to find the value. So for example, let me take this value here, right? So how do I denote this value? Since it is P, so I'm going to call this P11. Why? Because it is first row, first column. Okay. Likewise, this element here 0 will be first row, second column. So P12, and this one will be P13. Likewise, this last value here will be P31. Okay. So that's how I'm going to denote it. Okay. So now we need to find the cofactor. So cofactor of P11, right? So what are we going to do? We are going to ignore this row we are going to ignore that column, right? So we are going to ignore the first row and the first column. So we are going to be left with 1, 0, 1, 2, right? And then you find the cofactor, which is 2 minus 0, which is 2, right? So what we need to find step by step is from here cofactor matrix, right? So the first value we have already found. The first value is 2. Okay. Now I'll concentrate on P12. So P12 is this value here. So for P12, we'll ignore the first row and the second column. So we are left with negative 1, 0, 1, 2. So we'll have minus 2 minus 0, which is minus 2. Therefore, the second term in the cofactor matrix is negative 2. Right? Then you have the third value. So let me write this here. So cofactor for P13, right? So this is the third value, negative 1. So I'm going to ignore the first row and the third column. So we'll be left with negative 1, 1, 1, 1. So you'll have here minus 1, which is minus 2. So the third value here is minus 2. Okay. So likewise, please go ahead and find the other values. So find P21, P22, P23, P31, P32, P33, right? And let me know what cofactor matrix you get. I'll give you a minute to just solve that. Okay, so I'm also solving. Parallelly, you also solve. Check if you get that as the cofactor matrix.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So for those who have completed that, okay, please don't do it directly like I have done. Okay, it is suggested that you write it like this form for each of them, because then you can easily go and troubleshoot where you want to revise again. Then okay, so this is the cofactor matrix. So the job is not done. Actually, we want to find the inverse, right? So for the inverse, we need adjoint of P, and then we are going to divide that with the determinant, right? So the adjoint of P is the transpose of the cofactor matrix. So what you have to do is take the cofactor matrix and find the transpose. Okay, so to find the adjoint of P, we are going to take the cofactor matrix and transpose it, right? So let us see what transpose will get. So in transpose, rows become column and column becomes row, right? So The first column we have is 2 1 1, right? That will become the first row. So we will get 2 1 1. The second is negative 2 5 minus 1. So we will get negative 2 5 minus 1. And then last column that we have is minus 2 2 and 2, right? So that will become minus 2 2 and 1, right? I think it is minus 2 2 and 1, right? Minus 2 2 and 2. Okay, this value here is minus 2 2 and 2. Okay, are you getting that as the transpose? Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we have found the adjoint of P, but we want to find the, any questions? Okay, so we need to find the inverse of P, that is going to be adjoint of P, which we have found, divided by the determinant of P. We have already found the determinant of P, which is 6. Therefore, you'll have 1 by 6 into adjoint of P. So that is 2 1 1 minus 2 5 minus 1 minus 2 2 and 2, right? So this way we have found P inverse. Okay. Now, as I was saying before, the transformation, okay, the similarity transformation is P inverse A into P equal to D, right? So we have just found P inverse. We know this value P inverse. We are already given A. We have already found P through eigenvector. This is the collection of eigenvectors, right? P inverse you get from adjoint of P divided by determinant of P. A is already given, so this is already given to us. D we find through eigenvalues, right? So all now we have to do is multiply the factors on the LHS, that is P inverse AP, and see if that turns out to be equal to D. If that is the value, we can say that P is the modal matrix of A. That is all we have to do. So D we already know, because we know the eigen values, and the values we have is 8 0 0 0 2 2 sorry 0 2 0 and 0 0 2. So this D we already know. So all you have to do is take P inverse, which is 1 by 6. Now this value 2 1 1 minus 2 5 minus 1 minus 2 2 and 2. This is P inverse. Multiply this with A, which is 6 minus 2 2 minus 2 3 minus 1 2 minus 1 3. Multiply this with P, which we have found 2 0 minus 1 minus 1 1 0 and 1 1 2, right? So multiply this. So how are you going to multiply this? So you multiply the rows with the column. So this is the row and that is the column. That's how we are going to multiply, right? Element by element you need to multiply. And you this answer, if it turns out to be D, that is if it turns out to be 800 020 002, then we can say that the matrix P, this here, this matrix P will diagonalize A. If it is not so, then it is not going to be able to diagonalize, right? So that's how we solve for the diagonalization. Okay. So I'll just give you 1 minute and let me know what answer you get for this P inverse AP, right? So this three matrices which you'll be multiplying is P inverse AP. Let me know what answer you get here. Just take a minute to see what answer you get for this. Okay. So what answers you get? Anybody? So let us if we multiply. So this is how, I hope you know the multiplication, right? So each element by element you'll have to multiply with the column, right? Right. So this 2 you'll have to multiply with this 2 into 6 minus 2 into 2 plus 2 into 2. Like that you'll have to multiply. So anyone has solved the first multiplication?
Yes, sir.
So let's see. Have you solved it completely or just the first matrix?
Just first, sir.
Okay. So I'll rewrite this 2 0 negative 1 negative 1 1 0 1 1 and 2. Okay. This is P inverse AB. Okay. So what do you get?
Minus 12 minus 6 2
Hmm.
sir 12 ಅಷ್ಟೇ.
12. Okay.
Minus 4 minus 12 4
Hmm.
minus 12 0 minus 6
Minus 6. Anyone gets that answer?
minus 8, sir.
Last is minus 8. Huh?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
And there is 1 by 6 here. Okay. Outside this one. Determinant. So now again we'll have to multiply this row with this column here. Means each element with that column. So you'll have 1 by 6. So you'll have 12 into 2 minus 12 plus 12. So like that each element will have to be calculated. Okay. So it's a bit tedious. 12. Check with me, okay? What do you get? Anyone?
0 and 2, sir.
1 second. Tell me the first row.
24, 0 and 2, sir.
Hmm.
Then minus 8,
Hmm.
0 and 4.
Hmm.
Minus 24, 0 and minus 8, sir.
Minus 8. Hmm.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else with that answer? Okay. So anyway, if this is the answer, see P inverse AP should be equal to D, and D is this, right? So obviously, if this is the answer, you can see that on the diagonal we are not getting those values 8, 2 and 2, and the other values are also not matching, right? So
Yes,
if
sir.
this, yeah, so if this is correct, we'll match with another student also. If this is correct, then we can say that P is not a modal matrix of A. That's all. Okay, P is not a modal matrix of A. If this P inverse AP, this entire process gave us this D, this matrix here, then we would say that P is a modal matrix of A. That means P can be used to diagonalize the matrix, right? So this is all we need to do to diagonalize any particular matrix, right? So it's a big process to find eigenvalue, eigenvector, then cofactor matrix, transpose it, divide by the determinant, multiply P inverse AP, and see if you are getting the diagonal or if you are not getting the diagonal. Okay, so it is a tedious process, but you need to know if this question is asked, then you can get all the marks if you do it correctly. Okay, so this is one of the methods you can diagonalize. There are other methods also to diagonalize. This is not the only method. There are other methods also, but this is the one which is specified in your syllabus. Okay, so there's no problem to be given like that. You can pick any problem previously which we have done and just try to diagonalize it. Okay, you may or may not get the P as the modal matrix, right? So I'll give you one numerical. this is solved in the notes which are uploaded, but I would suggest that you do it without seeing, so that you are able to diagonalize the matrix, right? In the Teams group, I have uploaded additional videos where I have solved this entire process for I think 3 numericals. Okay, because solving in class, it takes a lot of time, as you can see. Okay, so you can practice with those videos. Okay, so you can take one for practice. This is solved in the notes also. Okay, so you need to diagonalize this matrix: 5, 7, -5, 0, 4, -1, 2, 8, -3. Okay, so you need to diagonalize A. Okay, so solve it without looking at the notes, and then you can match the answer there. Okay, so there are 2 more concepts which are left in the determinants part. Okay, one is known as the positive definite matrices, and the other one is known as the singular value decomposition. That is also a little tedious to solve, as we have solved this diagonalization. Okay, but the symmetric positive definite matrices are a little simple. So I'll just leave you with the theoretical part. We'll solve the numerical tomorrow. Okay. So we are doing positive definite matrices. So the idea here is, if you have a symmetric matrix, let us take an example, A as 2, 3, 3, 5, right? If you have a symmetric matrix, then you can see that if you transpose this matrix, the answer that you will get is 2, 3, 3, 5. That means for a symmetric matrix, A equal to A transpose. So this is the base on which this positive definite matrices are based on, right? So the theory is, any symmetric matrix, right? So any symmetric matrix, and let's call it n cross n, right, is said to be positive definite if, okay, if some z transpose mz is greater than 0. Okay, this is the important point. I'll explain you what this is. Okay. If z transpose mz is greater than 0 for every non-zero column vector z, right? Z transpose is the transpose of z, and we'll see what the transpose is. Okay, what it actually means when we solve a numerical. Okay, so z will be given to us, m will be given to us. So all we have to do is find that multiplication and see if it is greater than 0. If it is greater than 0, then we can say that it is a positive definite matrix, right? So the given z is a positive, the given m is a positive definite matrix. So in this z transpose mz, this m, this needs to be seen if this is positive definite or not. Okay, so it's a simple concept. Just take z and m which are given, find the transpose of z, and multiply them, and if you are able to get an answer greater than 0, then we say that m is positive definite, right? So just a quick numerical, a simple one. So we are given z as a, b, and we are given m as 2, 1, 1, 2, right? So all you have to do is you have to multiply z transpose mz, right? So z transpose from the given z will be a, b. The column matrix turns out to be a row matrix. So I'll write this Z transpose MZ as A, B, M is 2, 1, 1, 2, and Z is AB. Now, if this is greater than 0, then we say that M is positive definite, right? So Z transpose MZ, now I'll multiply them element by element. So we'll get 2A. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, sir.
So I'll multiply element by element. So you'll have 2A plus B, and then you'll have 1A plus 2B, right? So you get 2A plus B, and then A plus 2B, that multiplication, and this will be multiplied with AB, that is Z, right? So therefore, Z transpose MZ. Now if we multiply, this will be multiplied with A, right? So you'll have 2A square plus B square plus A square plus 2B square, right? So this will become 3A square plus 3B square, right? And if in under all conditions, whether A is positive or A is negative, you are always going to get this value greater than 0, right? Because it is squared value. So even if you have -1, +1, -2, +2, it doesn't matter. This is always going to be greater than 0, right? Therefore, M is positive definite, right? The only value or the only case in which this will not be greater than 0 is if A and B are 0, right? So therefore 3A square plus 3B square is greater than 0, right? For non-zero A and B. For all other values apart from 0, this value is always going to be greater than 0. Therefore, M becomes positive definite. Okay. So this is a very simple concept of positive definite. Tomorrow's lecture we'll start with this, solve another simple numerical, and then move to singular value decomposition, which takes a lot of time, like diagonalization of the matrix, right? So with that we'll be able to complete this module.